Greetings and salutations, Paul.
How you been?
You know how I've been. We've been together for like...
Yeah, well, I know how you've been, but the listeners don't know how you've been. Listeners always bank on like, how's Mike been?
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
They don't.
They love you. How's Mike been? What's he doing?
Just sit thinking, how's he
They just love
been?
what's happening.
I'm going to pretend to be... I'm gonna pretend to be good.
Pretend.
Yeah.
We're chatting about your training and your prep work and, how's it all been going? Managing a couple little niggles and getting yourself back 100%.
Constantly, just constantly. I don't know. I just think when you get to a certain level, it's not always about just continually to linearly make progression. It's setting yourself up so that you can linearly make progression. But instead of just moving up, or instead of taking steps forwards constantly, it might be like you take a few steps forwards, then rather than taking a step backwards, you take a side step, fix something up, whether it be a sore knee or a sore shoulder or whatever, and then continue to step forwards.
What would you call this phase? Because I always find, when you're in a comp phase.
The shittest phase. That's what I would call it.
Because you got your comp phase where obviously you're so fixated on the goal, the plan, every day is the same, it's regimented, you've got a coach telling you what to do, you're getting feedback. Then you have obviously the competition day, then you have this glorious period afterwards where no matter what you do, you're just anabolic.
You're just getting bigger and stronger.
You're just getting bigger, stronger. And then you're obviously tapering back on the amount of, steroids and stuff you're taking, but it's almost the food is more powerful at that point. So there is a point where the drugs taper down, the food goes up, but then there is a point where it's like, okay, what the fuck's going on here? Like it does happen 3-4 months after. I've been in that phase many times, and that's the phase where I'm like, what am I doing?
I think everyone reaches it every now and then. It's not something that everyone will constantly experience, but I think it's not uncommon to experience it maybe like once every 2 years or something like that, where you just get to a point where it's like, hang on, I've just been foot to the floor in terms of training for so long now. Yeah, I've had a few deloads, but with the intensity and the consistency that I'm at, I just need to give my body a bit of a rest. And like I said, take that side step so that I can continue to step forwards. And when I say side step, I mean low drugs, consistency with the food, but just putting more effort into making sure that the body is functioning as it should and that I'm not getting any soreness anywhere so that I can't do exercises that I like or I can't train as hard as I want, rather than just persist through them and push them to the point that they become injuries.
Well, I think exactly what you said, minimizing any niggles or pain, because I think training morale, like at this point in training, it's like, you want to go in there and have some goals in the gym. Pre-contest, all you're caring about is like, if I got a good pump or whatever, you feel good.
You care more about how you look at that point.
The sessions are all good because you're not eating much, but you're shredded.
But when you're shredded, like obviously you want to train hard, but I feel like you don't get as much satisfaction from the training as you do with how intense the pump is and how crazy you look after it.
But then when the pump kind of dissipates and you're a bit, you're fuller in the off season, then your brain goes towards like performance outcomes in the session where you're like, I should be lifting these numbers, I want to do this. But then if your body's not 100% to do that, it's like, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah,
you've got to set yourself up to be able to do it.
But I think the mental aspect is all, like there is a point, and we're all human, where you just can't keep flogging a dead horse mentally. It does get exhausting. You do need to have that love.
It reignites your enthusiasm for it. It doesn't mean you don't like it, but it's just sometimes you need to have a break from anything at some point. And just to go back on what you said about setting yourself up so that you can enjoy training for those numbers, having the performance-based goals. Like an example I always like to use is Ronnie Coleman. Not to be disrespectful, but because he would go in the gym as a bodybuilder and just lift heavy shit up because he felt good that day.
Yeah.
There wasn't a program leading up to it. There wasn't any prehabilitation work done before the sessions. It was just, I feel like I can probably deadlift fucking 600 pounds for reps today, or whatever it was. What was it? What was his biggest?
800 squat.
Yeah.
It was 800 pounds.
I feel like I can squat 800 solid ass pounds today. So I'm just going to do it for as many reps as I can. And he probably just woke up that morning and felt good. And the week before he probably hadn't deadlifted for fucking 6 months.
He probably just did something else.
And when you do that, like, that's what I always say to people. If you wanted to right now, if you really wanted to, if someone held a gun to your head right now and said, Paul, I need you to squat 300 kilos right now, I'm going to shoot you in the head. You could definitely do it.
I would, yeah.
But the thing is, you'd be fucked tomorrow. Yeah. Whereas if you started that squat at 140 and has gradually progressed over a couple of weeks and a couple of months to get to that point, you do it. And yeah, you might be a little bit cooked the next day, but you're not going to be injured. You're not going to be sore. You're not going to be beaten down. You've conditioned yourself for it.
You're adapting to every single phase of the program.
Yeah, there's a period that I think you have to go through of just loving your body in terms of your joints, ligaments, because what I think a lot of people don't realize as well is that your muscles grow at a much quicker rate and get stronger at a much quicker rate than your tendons and ligaments do. So if you're not strengthening your ligaments and tendons, but you're strengthening your muscles, they can't keep up. And that's where we see a lot of injuries happen as well. Don't you reckon when you see on Instagram, like you'll be scrolling through and you see a reel and someone will go, I'm seeing a lot of, and you go, oh, here we go. Doctor's about to drop some knowledge.
Here we go.
And then they go, what? I see a lot of this in the gym. And it's like, bro, who are you? Like, no one cares.
All these people are just popping up out of nowhere. And what I'm seeing a lot more of now, as you said, you're scrolling and you just see like a bodybuilder that you know or someone, an acquaintance or someone in the industry, and you see muscle off the bone or something gone. And then
I've seen so many injuries this year.
So many.
Did we speak about this?
I don't think we spoke about
time?
it previously, but not specifically about injuries, but I have seen a lot of
I've seen so many injuries this year.
You know what? I have, in the last 6 weeks, I have never had more inquiries than I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And they're all bodybuilders.
Yep.
A lot of bodybuilders, and they're all reaching out for whether it be like an injury that's annoying them for a long time or someone who's had like a moment, something.
Okay. And that sort of just goes back to the phase I'm in right now. I'm not injured at the moment because I'm taking that side step and I'm not pushing through it.
Well, we've known each other for a long time. And
of course.
over that period of time, you'll now know.
I'm not going to, I'm with training, I'm at a level of experience and knowledge a lot further down the road than a lot of guys are.
Yeah. You know,
so I know how to avoid this shit and what to do. And a lot of it's what I've learned from you for sure.
3 weeks of pulling back will allow you to go and have now an uninterrupted 12 months.
And that's exactly it. And it's not taking steps backwards. It's taking a side step so that you continue to move forwards. And that's how you have to think of things sometimes.
The problem I'm actually seeing a lot of the times with a lot of these bodybuilders, it just comes down to their program and whether it be their exercise order. I'm finding that's something that I'm seeing a lot of. It's like a correlation between injuries. The order at which they're doing a lot of their exercises that require a lot more coordination, stability, and CNS recruitment, they're doing it either later in the week or later in their day. Like I'll see people squatting quite heavy after doing 2 or 3 exercises. You can get away with it. We all love it, but it does bias the squat. Obviously, if you've got pumped quads before you go under a barbell, or they might be doing rack deads or something of such at the end of their workout when they're already quite fatigued, they get away with it for 2 or 3 blocks, and there'll just be a moment where.
But I know why people do that though, because for me,
we all did it.
I'll still do it. I squat at the moment 4th exercise in after I've done a seated hamstring curl and a ductor and a leg extension because I like to have those areas a little bit pre-fatigued. I do acknowledge I'm not going to be as strong in the squat, but the purpose of it is that those muscles are working harder. But you are
a great squatter.
Yeah.
So you can get away with it because your mechanics aren't interrupted by those exercises.
Well, and I made a post about this a couple of weeks ago. I said, if you're a bodybuilder that wants to progress in compound movements, spend time training with powerlifters, good powerlifters, not just fucking Derek Hunts that drink whiskey and smoke cigarettes and listen to loud music, like legit performance-based powerlifters, because that's when you'll learn how to perform the movements correctly. Because there's so many times that I see people squatting and they like, you see all the pressure go into their toes and their heels raise off the ground. I'm like, bro, I thought you were a good bodybuilder because like you've got great development in quads, but the way you squat, that's pathetic. That's
terrible.
That's pathetic.
And it just, that movement pattern isn't just for their squat. It carries into like everything else. I can see it's almost like what injury they're predisposed to just from how their free weight exercises are, and they carry that shit onto a leg press, onto a hack squat, into a lunge. And then, as I said, it just accumulates and someone will, I did this exercise and I got this injury from it. It's like, it's not that exercise gave you that injury. It's the last 2 to 3 years that you've been
doing that exercise incorrectly.
Yeah. Even not like, not to say something can be done incorrectly as such, it can be done less efficiently, but you're not going to get injured. Like if you do like an exercise that's not 100% correct with technique, it's the load relative to that technique. So you could get away with doing something with moderate load for a while without getting injured. But once you start pushing that tissue in a compromised position over time, that's what's going to hurt. Like I can go and do a terrible deadlift at 60 kilos every week and I'll be sweet. But if I start to challenge that tissue with that poor technique with weights that it can't handle in those positions, that's when it starts to become.
Man, I saw something the other day, incline bench 4 plates, which is strong, but just the way that it was shaking, I was like, this is not worth it. Like you have not built up to this correctly. And that's what I was saying to you before. Yeah, you can do it, but you can do it that week. You're not going to be able to do it, probably not be able to do it next week because your central nervous is going to be fried, your elbows are going to be sore, your wrists are going to be sore. You might have hurt yourself. I just remember just watching this dude just unrack it, and he did like 3 or 4 reps and it was strong. But just the way that everything was just shaking as it was happening.
They're not ready for that.
It just was not ready for it. Like the strength is there.
But the connective tissue.
But like just because you have the strength to do it doesn't mean you have the right to do it.
Correct. That's a good one. I find that a lot of the time, that's why I train on my own, because I'm doing my own program and I follow my own weights, and my program is specifically tailored and designed to what I want to do at this moment. But I find that a lot of these guys, when they train with someone, they're at differing mobility levels, differing strength levels. One might be housing an injury that's, under the surface.
If someone asked me to train together, like Taylor, who trains at our gym and he's one of the athletes for TXA and Transparent, we'll chat the other day about training, and I want to train with him. But for me to be able to train with someone, I need to prepare myself like 4 weeks for that, because like it's going to be completely different to anything I want to do. I have to almost be willing to sacrifice my session in a way, because it's not going to be exactly what I normally do unless someone just molds complete to my program. But at the same time,
you're not going to be able to.
My rest period is going to be exactly what it is, because normally my rest periods are down to like 10 seconds either side. You know what I mean? When you have someone else there, it just interrupts things a little bit.
But it also absorbs energy that, because, you do want to have those small chats in between.
Yeah, exactly. You got to think of it as like just a fun session.
There are sessions that are great. Like if we said, hey, let's train arms together on on a day where we're both off program or whatever, we could have a great session. But if it's coming down to a session, it's like we're doing legs, it's like, well, that's not going to work.
No, and because if it's just off the cuff, like I might be at a point where I'm pushing everything really hard and you're not at that point.
Yeah. Or
it could be reverse. And then I try and keep up with you because you're going super hard, but I'm not meant to be there yet. And do you know what I mean? Something
you might not have gone and done an let's just say if we created a program to suit both of us, it's going to be different to what we usually do.
Yeah.
And I might not be doing barbell squats. It might be in the end phase of your program. You might not be doing lunges. I'm doing lunges.
It's very hard to sync up where you're at in terms of the exercises that you're doing and prioritizing and how hard you're going at that point of the program.
And what's someone going to, what are you going to gain? That's what you got to ask yourself. Both people need to gain something from training together.
Yeah.
If it's a social thing, that's what you're gaining. You're gaining a social, but if it's to progress in the gym, that other person might be actually absorbing and learning from you more than what you're getting from them.
But if it's to progress in the gym, you need to say, okay, let's do this. Because I don't like to do anything that I only do once.
Yeah.
I only like to implement anything ever in my entire life that I can do consistently. If it's taking a supplement, if it's fucking part of my routine, if it's, I only like to do anything that I can do consistently. If it's just a once off, I don't want to do it.
No, correct.
If it's like an ice bath, if I'm not doing it every Sunday, I just don't see the point in doing it once.
Because at least you can see what the results are over a period of time. You can actually say, hey, I've done this for 6 weeks. How do I feel?
Exactly.
It's not just a one-off. And that's with training. It'd be like, do you want to train a block with someone together?
If you're going to train with someone, I feel like you say, okay, we're going to meet at the gym this time every day. These are the days we're going to train. These are the days we're not going to train. And this is what we're doing on these days. This is the objective of the program. And then you start it together and you start within your means. You gauge how you build up. Then you get an understanding of where they're at. They get an understanding of where you're at. You get an understanding of when to push them, when not to push them, the things that they're responsible with, the things that they're irresponsible with. Just you can figure all that shit out to make sure that you're truly both getting the most out of it. Whereas, like you said, if you're coming in to the session together once randomly, it's got to be purely a social thing. Because if you can't replicate it,
no,
you're not making progress.
We had blocks when we were training specific muscle groups together, and they were great. Like even when we were doing legs on that Saturday we did it for 8 or 9 weeks. They were great sessions, but we knew that, okay, next week we remembered each other's numbers. You did this last week.
But also we're in sync with the exercises that we're doing.
Even when we were deadlifting on those Friday nights, we did that for a long time, and we knew it's okay. What are you doing this week? I know Mike's got this. I know I got this. We know how to warm up. We know who starts. Like you just get in this like rhythm with each other.
Get in a rhythm.
But if you just do it as a one-off, so let's just do a max deadlift together.
Yeah,
just asking.
Yeah, well, yeah. And I don't want to ask them, what do you want to do next? Like I know what I want to do.
Yeah. I hate that question. What do you want to do? It's like, actually, my program says this.
What are your thoughts on this? Like for me, right? When I go to the gym, that's pretty much if not one of the most important things I do that day. Nothing usually means more to me than what I do at that point in time. And I'm sure everyone has something that they wake up, we'd like to think everyone has something that they wake up and they do every day that's really important to them, that they want to give a lot of energy and attention to, whether that be reading a book, training, time with their kids, work, whatever the fuck it is. Everyone has something that they really want to give a lot of energy, effort, and attention to each day. If someone is focusing on their thing that they really enjoy to do each day, let's just say in this instance for them it's reading a book. If I'm there hanging around, making noise, disturbing them, turning the pages back and forth in their book, asking, can I use that book, just annoying them, would they be annoyed?
Of course.
So why the fuck is it okay for people to do that to me when I'm in the gym training?
Well, it's not okay.
No.
It's not okay. It's always going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, I find, because there's an aura around you and your training, and people just want to kind of I think they just want to be.
But I don't go to the gym to be social.
No, of course not. But I feel like by not doing that, people want it. People almost want it more.
Man.
It's like what you can't have.
They want
that validation from you. A lot of people.
And most of the people that I do see in the gym in the morning, I get along with all of them, but I don't speak to them, and they know that because I'll speak to them when I see them another time. But I don't speak to anyone in the morning. That's just because I'm not there to talk. And training, it's very ritualistic for me. It's like a certain persona that I tap into to achieve something that I'm very focused on achieving. And if I'm talking about to someone what they did on the weekend, I don't give a fuck what they did on the weekend at that point in time. I'll talk to you about what you did on the weekend later when I see you.
Yeah, of course.
But at that point in time,
persona.
Yeah, at that point in time, I'm just focused on doing what I'm doing. I don't give a shit. So I am in a good rhythm with it, but still sometimes I just like to be completely alone. So
people kill me when I train.
I like to get up super early now.
Sometimes you scan in at the gym.
Even earlier. So I've been getting there before 4 o'clock. So like 3:45, something like that, which gets me about 45 minutes to an hour completely by myself, which is really good because after I've had that 45 to an hour completely by myself, I can almost tolerate someone else in my presence a bit more.
Almost.
But like
almost tolerate it.
Almost tolerate it without snapping. But the best time is Saturday morning and Sunday morning because no one's going to be there that early. It's just you fucking euphoric when no one's in there at that time.
My whole week revolves around like kind of how much energy I have to output in the gym socially, basically. Like I don't train Mondays. That's a day that I don't actually even go to the gym. I do all my online work, my computer work, my emails. I find that a lot of people are quite urgent on a Monday. Like you Friday, everyone clocks off. It's like everyone logs off on a Thursday and then all that work accumulates and then you get hit with it on a Monday. So I actually know that my training is going to be interrupted if I'm thinking about work and life and all that.
There's too much other stuff for you to focus on.
I don't go in the gym on a Monday. I get all my online stuff done. I make sure that I'm ready so Tuesday.
Well, and when you say you don't go in the gym, you mean you don't go to the gym for work purposes either?
I don't even go in the gym at all. I do all my...
But normally you'll be in there for... That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't go in there at all. For work, for training, nothing.
Because I know that when I go in the gym, people think I'm at work, but I get a lot less work done because when I'm in there, I talk to everyone. And you have to be more like I go in there to catch up, see everyone. I don't actually go in there to sit at a computer and work.
It's hard not to. Like if I went to train at the gym the same time that you're in there, I'm not going to have the best session because I'm going to start talking to you.
Because we want to chat. Yeah.
I'm just instantly going to start talking to you. So it's like I purposely don't go at the time when I'm going to see anyone I know because I'm going to speak to them because like they're my friends and I want to speak to them. But at that time, I don't want to do that.
No, you can't because you're there to train.
Yeah.
So I don't go in on a Monday, and then I find that the day that works for me, I give everyone, all the clients that I work with and most of the staff, everyone have rest days on Wednesday, just the way it kind of falls with the week. So I go and squat on that day.
Wednesday's an awesome day to go in.
So I go and squat on that day.
Yeah.
But I find it's hard, obviously, when you're in the gym, deliveries come, there might be someone just standing at the front looking around. And as a business owner, you're like, what's like I can't watch this. Like I need to make sure, hey, what's going on? How are you? And I might have my belt on, my wrist straps on,
you got to
determine on a bar.
You got to determine when you're going in there to be business owner, working the business, and when you're going in there to be, using the gym.
Well, the two main
For the
days in my
facility.
program right now, the two main days are my Saturday and my Wednesday, the two quietest days in the gym. Because Saturday I do my heavy pressing, which I really want to be focused on because I know the risk with a heavy press, there's a big risk. So I make sure there's no one in there. And then on a Wednesday, the gym's quite quiet. Every other day I can train closer to 80, 90%. I can have a good session still. But I can't guarantee it's going to be that high on, if I go and train legs on that day. The last thing you need when you're squatting is to just be interrupted.
Just anything, yeah.
I can't squat and be interrupted because once you lose track or lose focus, it's fucked.
I can't tell you how many times I'll be working on the business or speaking to someone on the phone or just doing something throughout the day, and all I'm thinking about is just sinking a squat.
Yeah.
Somebody talking about something, I'll be like, oh yeah. And in my head, all I'm thinking about is just 7 plates in a high bar just sitting on the ground.
love squatting.
Yeah, I'm squatting it at the moment.
It's so nice. I did my biggest squat a few weeks ago and I just still I never thought I'd be able to high bar. It was 220 for 2 high bar and I'm like, because I've low barred a lot more than that. But low bar with wraps is so much easier than high bar with nothing.
It's a different exercise.
Like to be able to see, because you essentially, your calf is just on your hamstring. You could not be any lower in that high bar. You are on the ground in that high bar.
Yeah.
So stand back up.
You can
that
sink
weight
it.
on your shoulders.
So I've got a high bar in my program at the moment, like I was saying before, 4th exercise in. This is the first real week of the program post getting my body right. And it just feels fucking so good.
Where'd you start at?
180.
It's a good starting point.
Yeah, 180. But it feels like nothing.
Yeah,
180, I can just sit in the bottom for like fucking 30 minutes.
I've seen you do that with 260 sitting at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I know that there's plenty in the tank.
Yeah. So, but like I haven't done a high bar in a program for years.
Yeah.
I've done one for years.
How's your
now.
shoulder mobility with it? Do you feel comfortable getting under that bar?
It's a bit better. It's a bit better because like this is the first week of the program that I'm starting at 180, but previously to this, I'd been going in and just practicing getting under the bar and just to make the mobility. And I've been doing shoulder mobility stuff every morning as well.
It will just improve because I got a client that couldn't get her hands under the bar and just weekly going under the bar and just doing
It gets
exercise, like even without any specific mobility drills, it just like acclimates to that task.
My hands aren't wrapped around the bar though. It's like my fingers are just on the tip of it, pulling it in.
You will eventually. I remember there was one point when you started doing the high bar years ago. We used the Olympia rack and we brought the racks in.
Yeah, and
then
went
you
even
hold
wider.
it on there. And then at one point, once your mobility improved, then we didn't have to do that. You were able to.
Yeah.
That just comes with the time.
But that's conditioning your body.
Yeah.
And that's again, back to what we were talking about earlier at the start of the podcast. That's why you don't just come in and feel good one day and do 300.
Yeah,
because you can't get into the position properly.
How many bodybuilders do you see just like go and they walk a bar out and it looks like they're going to snap in half?
I don't think many bodybuilders squat anymore.
It's not cool, is it, the bodybuilders? It's just not a cool exercise anymore. They don't like it.
No, everyone demonizes a little bit.
Yeah, which is funny because I always like to go against because it will come back into fashion at one point.
I think it's starting to at the moment.
It will. There is one point where, the crowd always follows what's in and then few people here and there will keep doing what they believe in, because at the end of the day, when I'm watching videos and I love looking at equipment, I love seeing people use pendulum squats and hack squats and I love looking at the gyms, but that workout starts with plates on a bar or plates on an incline, or I'm just more inclined to look at that person being like, okay.
It's a much more exciting exercise.
That's
why I train heavy and hard on everything I do. But the only thing that looks cool is barbell work. That's the only thing I really post because the only thing that to me garners any respect.
Honestly, it's the only thing. And you know what? Looking at you do that pendulum squat with like 6 plates on it, that's way harder than anything.
But it just looks gay.
It just
looks gay. It doesn't look cool at all.
Yeah, squat.
It doesn't look cool
like
at all.
Like I can look at that and be like, that is strength.
Yeah,
that is hardcore. But
a normal person would do. Oh yeah,
I can do that.
How much is that? You got 120 kilos. Like,
yeah,
they don't even. Yeah.
They don't even know it.
What do you reckon the most popular leg exercise that you see people posting at the moment? I'll start. Cybex squat press.
Everyone loves it.
Which is mad.
Such a good machine.
It's such a good machine.
Because they discontinued it as well.
Yeah.
Can't even get it.
That's very popular. Pendulums are very popular at the moment.
Very popular. Everyone loves a pendulum squat.
Hack squat is always pretty popular.
Yep. And always leg extensions. I see a lot of people posting the plate-loaded prime one. A lot of people in the UK love it.
Oh, yeah.
They post the one with the 3-prong. They love it because they can load the lengthened position.
Yeah, I haven't used it enough to
But those are the main exercises. You just rarely see someone just walk out a barbell.
Yeah. but everything has its place, right? Like they obviously do that. I think everything has its time where it comes into fashion.
Yeah.
For sure. And they might also think that they can bias particular muscle groups with those exercises.
I do both. I have a day where I do my heavy stuff, which is always squat, leg press, leg extension, and a hamstring curl. And then on the other day, I go in and do pendulum, lunge, and then hamstring. So I do have 2 days where I do 2 different variations. Like one day I can, really push that pump and feel my quads screaming. And the other day I just feel my whole body.
Yeah.
And
I'll usually have like a ham exercise, adductor, a leg extension, and then 2 sort of meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
So those 2 meat and potatoes, it might be a barbell squat and leg press.
Yeah, that's all you need.
But I like those meat and potatoes too, each program, I like to change them around.
Oh, yeah.
So do something different with them each time. So not always just do a hack squat, not always just because they, like as fun as they are, they get boring. And for me too, I get pretty strong on them. So I get to the point where it's like, I've maxed this out. I've fucking raped this thing and I'm copping a charge for it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more I can do with this. I need to move on to some fresh meat.
I change my B, like my main exercise is always a free weight squat movement pattern, whether it be safety bar, front squats, high bar, whatever it is, the free weight squat movement pattern. My one that I rotate anyway, it could range from 3 weeks to 6 weeks. I try and push 6 weeks on it. It would be hack squat, a legs press, a Rogers squat, just something that I know there will be a moment where I'm like, okay, I can't progress.
Well, I like to think that one as the spinal loading one.
Yeah.
The spinal, I'll have one big compound that loads the spine and one that probably doesn't.
Yeah. And I swap that second one around when I've peaked on it. Like when you get to the point where you're like, I can't picture myself going another week going heavier on this.
Yeah. And usually I'll run a piece of equipment to the point where I just don't want to do it anymore. Because
When you look at it and you resent it, you're like,
I've just gone so heavy and hard on it. And I don't think it's interesting, right? Because I don't think it's that cool to train hard anymore. I think now a lot of people and it makes sense. So I'm not saying what they're doing is gay or shit. Personally, I don't enjoy it as much. But in terms of logic, it makes sense. So not training, where people start to train like 2 or 3 reps in reserve, it makes sense in the fact that it's not going to complete failure, so they can be more consistent with their training because they can come in more consistently. And yeah, they're not going to train to 100% failure, but because they haven't done that, it's allowing them to come in and train more consistently for a more extended period of time and continue to progress. Because we probably don't need to train as hard as we do in a lot of cases, but then it just becomes not as fun.
Yeah, I naturally have fallen into that where let's just say I introduce a leg press into my program and I just want to get really comfortable and good at it. Maybe the first 2 or 3 weeks I do leave those reps in reserve, but when I know that it's not going to be in the program for that much longer, I don't have much room to move, I really want to test how much weight I've got on it and how many reps I can do on it. So I do have a couple of weeks where I'm pushing very, very hard with no reps in reserve. But I do admit where I used to kind of channel that every single week, now I don't. I make sure that I have enough. I want to go into the week after putting more weight on, confident that I'll do it, knowing that last week was easy.
Yes.
So I do leave reps in reserve for the psychological thing of I'm building into it weekly.
Yep.
Just because I don't have an end date with anything right now. I don't have to worry about a competition. I can really drag my training programs out. And by doing that, I've actually been able to lift heavier on everything in the last year because I've just dragged things out and I haven't rushed it and I'm not really carrying any injuries. So I have noticed that rep in reserve.
Yeah. And I guess the way I probably gauge it for myself is the 2 forms of failure we can reach. We can reach technical failure where your form breaks down or muscular failure where your muscles can't move anymore. And I'll usually call it at technical failure. So I probably could go 1 or 2 reps more when my muscles fail, but I don't want to because it just means a lot more to me that the set is done perfectly rather than technique breaking down and reaching muscular failure. So that's how I justify it to myself. That because I stop at technical failure, I'm justifying that as maybe 1 or 2 reps in reserve.
Well, the less complex the exercise is, let's just say a leg extension, it's a single joint movement. You can reach muscular failure more safe than an exercise that's very complex that requires more stability. So your free weight stuff, I'm always going to a technical failure standpoint. And then it kind of syncs up with muscular failure once you become really advanced at the movement or close to. But I can, whatever I've got left in the tank from my technical failure sets, let's say a lying leg curl or a seated leg curl or a leg extension, I can push those exercises closer to muscular failure. But yeah, you're right there. Technical failure and people going beyond technical failure for extended periods of time with loads that their connective tissue can't handle is where you're setting yourself up for an injury.
Yeah.
That's the foundation.
So I guess it's safe to say calling it a technical failure is going to allow you to be more consistent with your performance.
And that's your reps in reserve. Because I mean, at technical failure, you've probably got a rep or two in the tank.
A rep or two at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually going to bring up today, Sam SULEK. You see on his pro card?
We're really going to talk about this?
Yeah, I want to talk about Sam SULEK.
No, I haven't got anything against it. The reason I reckon it's gay is because I just feel like everyone does it so they get more attention for their page.
No, I actually just wanted to bring it up because I like Sam in terms of.
So do I.
I like Sam,
bro.
But he's copping a lot of shit.
But he didn't choose for no one to show up that had the ability to beat him. Do you know what I mean? Like, do I think he has a pro-worthy physique? No. Do I think he has a sick physique for someone's first season? Fucking oath. The category that he went in, was there anyone that should have beat him? Probably not, because it wasn't that deep of a class. Like, have I seen deeper classic lineups in Australia? Yeah, I have. Was that his fault? No.
No, that's exactly it, because he's copping a lot of shit.
At the same time, though, is it in the IFBB's best interest for someone of that presence on social media to turn pro? Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I can see why all the markers are lined up to give him shit for it and be like, oh, it's a fucking conspiracy. They want him to turn pro, blah, blah, blah. But he just loves what he does, and good on him.
So I wanted your opinion, because you're a bodybuilder. I'm sure there have been many times you stood on stage at comps and there have been small lineups at some shows. There have been people that that shouldn't have been on that stage, but they're there. And it's almost like, well, for who was there on the day in that show, what do you want to do? Not compete? Like,
you prep, but also too, like, say you're the only person. This is kind of gay, but it's the only way I can justify it. Say if you're the only person in your category, but you prepped for 12 weeks, and you're the only person you still won because you still prepped for the 12 weeks when no one else did.
Yeah.
No one else did. So you still deserve it because you actually did it.
I once got on stage in 2018 and I didn't have anyone in my class, but then I got to compete in the overall and had it was a good showing in the overall. But in my specific class, it was a small show. It was like a qualifying show. And there was no one in that class. But I looked good. I posed. And then I got to enjoy standing around in the overall. But there was
any big names in the overall?
In that show, no. I think it was Anth Flamia, he was a guy.
Oh, he was pretty good.
He was a good bodybuilder, yeah. So there was good quality in that overall, and it was a great. It was just good to get on stage, to be honest. Like, when I compete, I just use that time to be like, hey, I'm on stage now. I've only got a few minutes right now to, just get in my rhythm, understand like where my body positioning is, practice my posing under these lights, trial the dehydration, whatever it is. It's just you got a small opportunity now to enjoy being the best version of yourself. I couldn't control who the hell was on that stage.
No.
But that's what I was going to say with someone like Sam. I think it's just been brought to light because he's such a big personality in the industry, which I still find hilarious how big of a personality he is, because
how simple he is.
But I find myself he might pop up on my social media and I'm almost mesmerized by the simplicity of his content. And I can't stop watching it. Like, I watched a video the other day. I'm like, oh, here he is. I'll just watch you. I watched 20 minutes. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm watching this guy open a burger and talk about something about nothing.
Yeah.
But people love him.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I don't know.
I reckon hanging out with him would be pretty cool. I feel like he's not one of those social media wankers. He would just want to.
It doesn't seem like, well, he just wears like the most shit clothes.
Yeah. He just wants to go to the gym and train.
Just train. He just loves training. That's what's so cool about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why he's popular. But did you watch the Arnolds? Did you see one and all that?
Did we speak about this yet?
No, we haven't spoken about it.
Okay. Interesting, right? So Samson being the current Mr. Olympia and competing in the Arnold Classic and not winning it.
What does that do for his stocks?
Does that devalue the title of Mr. Olympia?
Well, it's never been done before, has it?
I think it's happened once before. Ronnie Coleman got beaten by Gunther Schlierkamp at the GNC show.
Yeah.
When he was Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, because that's the only time it's really happened.
I think so.
Most of the time, Olympians don't compete at the Arnold.
Most of the times, Olympians don't compete in any other show.
Yeah, but I think that I think he did the right thing given the amount of prize money there is up for grabs.
Bro, if he pulled it off, it would have been fucking legendary. And everyone's probably gonna. It's like that thing, dare to be great. It's like in the UFC when the middleweight champion goes up to face the light heavyweight champion and he loses, even though he's the middleweight champion. But the thing is, if they pull it off, they're God. They're God tier. They're S tier if they pull it off. But it's just a very hard thing to accomplish.
Well, what I've noticed, like, let's just say you're the reigning Olympia. They've always said you've got to like knock the champ out. So even if the champ's a little bit off, you've got to come in super like on. So an Olympia can kind of get away with it from Olympia to Olympia, even if they're a little bit off. I find you've really got to overturn the title.
I think the time of errors has ended.
Yeah, it's ended. It's definitely ended.
It's I think we might see someone win 2, maybe 3, but I think it's going to be chopping and changing. By the same note, like when you see the top 3 guys at the Arnold or the Olympia, there might be very slight differences, but from my point of view, with how good the guys are, they could place the top 3 in any direction. I'm not going to complain. They're all so good.
Because they're that, yeah.
I'm not going to complain. I'm like, okay, he won, sick. He did like, everyone's so elite that it comes such minute details as to what makes the difference. And because it's a subjective sport, it could just be Steve Weinberger likes Derek more because they have the same religion. Like, do you know what I mean?
Might be just that little thing.
You don't know. But they're all so close to one another that it could go either way. And personally, if it's just based off the physiques, purely off the physiques, it could go either way. I'm not going to complain because they're all so good.
I feel that Samson has put a lot of pressure on his physique now going into the Olympia.
I just wish he would shut the fuck up about saying his wife preps him.
Yeah.
Bro, she makes you food for you.
Yeah.
Like, she makes you food
At that point, he could do whatever he wants and look good.
He can do it whatever he wants.
He can do whatever he wants and look good. I think even,
your wife's not prepping you. Like, she comes to the gym with you and holds your hand and babies you and does all the shit for you.
No,
she's not your coach. Like,
she's not your coach.
No.
You're coaching yourself.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to be sitting there getting emails from her saying up carbs 20 grams.
Yeah.
Like, that's not.
And if your wife was your coach, but I'm not doing what you say.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine Angelica saying, Mike, no, you're a bit off today.
You know what? To be honest, when she says something, when my missus says something to me, I actually take it so to heart. She'd be like to me,
she's the one that looks at you the most.
She knows, and because she knows how much effort I put into it, and she knows the standard I hold myself to, and she knows that I respect when someone tells me the truth. She knows that while sometimes it might be uncomfortable to say something, that in the long term it's better. Like, we're having a discussion about it the other day, and she's like, "Your condition this year was just shit," and I was like, just like went quiet for a bit. And I thought about it, and I was like,
a rough word.
I was like. She didn't say that, but she.
I was going to say, I just stopped to think of Angelica actually looking you in the eyes and say your condition.
She was like,
shit.
She was like, what did you say? She was like, look, I think you've been in much better condition before. And I was like, so you think my condition would be better? And she goes, I think you could come in better condition. I was like, okay. I just sat there and thought about it for a bit. I was like, but she's not wrong.
No, she's not wrong.
And she's not trying to hurt my feelings, and she knows what I expect of myself. So yeah,
but the thing is, it's not like you didn't for that show. It's not like you didn't diet hard enough. That was the look.
Well, that's another interesting thing too, because I've been having this conversation with people lately, just gauging what other people's perception is. Is it better to come in absolutely peeled, or is it better to come in lean but a bit fuller? And the general consensus, and I share this sentiment, seems to be it depends on the individual.
Yep,
it's so hard to say. Someone might look better peeled to the bone. Someone might look better a bit fuller. So it just really comes down to the individual and where their physique stands to look best. So
but not only the
hard.
individual.
But the hard thing is though, right? You put in a whole prep to come in fuller to see how that looks on stage. You fucking dedicated a whole prep to seeing what that looks like, to find out that it's probably not the best look.
But remember, you're not just getting judged as you're getting judged in a lineup.
Yeah.
So it also determines, let's just say the lineup is all 5'6", shredded little 212 dudes, and you're a bit fuller. What it's going to do, it might expose that condition. But if you get on stage with a bunch of mass monsters and you've edged them out in condition a little bit, but you're fuller, then the judges will look towards you. So not only is it you, it's where your physique stands up in that competition as well.
Oh, bro, and you have to do these things. Like for me personally, like I feel like the last season I took a risk And do I feel like it paid off with me getting my best look? No. But was I still able to win an Australian title not at my best? Yes. So it's not a bad thing, but it's gathering data as to what I need to do to present the best package possible. And I was still able to win an Australian title, not at my best.
Well, we've said this before. I believe personally that if you were to stand up against a lineup, a big super heavyweight lineup, you can't come in flat.
Oh, but don't get me wrong. The super heavyweight lineup at Nationals was epic.
It was great, and you won that.
That was an epic lineup, and I won that. Not presenting my best look.
You won that, but your look stood out there because that's against big bodies like that. You can't come in flat and peeled.
You can't come in flat, but that's that sweet spot. Like in my head, I just have this fucking magical dragon that you're constantly chasing. It's just of just coming in that perfect combination of fucking peeled and full.
The Sydney show in 2021 was you obviously weren't as big as you are now, but if you were to talk
shredded, but
if you were to talk about fullness, peaking and diced, that 1 hour window on that show, how you looked, it was a sweet spot.
It was a good look.
It was a good look.
It was a good look.
I mean, now that you've put on excessive amount more tissue, if you can.
But what it is now, it's marrying up those two looks. It's marrying up that level of shredded with that level of fullness from the two different years and putting them together.
You know, the thing is, you can get in that condition. Like you can. You have the genetics to allow you to get the work ethic and the genetics.
The mental capacity.
You have that ability to get in that condition. The hard part is acquiring the tissue, which you did. You've acquired the tissue.
But don't you think too, right? If someone comes in, I was talking to Taylor about this the other day, he made a good point. When someone comes in a bit fuller, the perception might be, oh, he didn't diet hard enough. But it might not be you didn't diet hard enough. It might be you're just going for a full look.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, even if you don't look your best, but you come in shredded, you get the respect of your peers.
Yeah.
And look, the respect of your peers, what's it worth to you? That matters to each individual.
I think at an amateur level, that makes sense.
The respect of your peers, well, I don't think it matters. Like if I see a natural guy that comes in completely shredded, do I think, I mean, whatever, but I still respect the fuck out of it because of how shredded they are. Do I think they look good compared to an enhanced guy? No. But do I respect how shredded they are?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like one thing, if someone grinds for condition, even if they have the ugliest body in the world, even if they look like fucking Michael Kefalianos, like if they come in absolutely peeled, you just can't not respect it.
There is a level.
Because you know how hard that is to get to.
It's not, you can't just achieve that.
Nah.
I've got a few questions actually.
I was going to say, do you want to, I'm not sure if you want to, but I think it's probably good for you to give a mention to Andrew Locke.
Yes, actually, I actually had that, funny enough, I had that in my notes here. No, we, sad day in the bodybuilding and strength kind of community.
Just for anyone that doesn't know, maybe just give a bit of an outline of who he was, his achievements, the impact that he had, and then.
So Andrew Locke was kind of the first physiotherapist or rehabilitation expert that really brought kind of functional strength and movement to the rehab scene. Like he was the first one to kind of marry up squatting and movement and deadlifting and all these things to fix injuries or address injuries. A lot of the time people's physiotherapy knowledge was go in a room, get a massage, do some exercise and go home.
Some shit tape on.
Yeah, put some tape on. Whereas he was the first to kind of use movement as that medicine type of thing. And he was the first guy that I kind of was a bit of a mentor for me coming up because I never really I always just wanted to work with bodybuilders and I didn't know how I was going to do it. And, you know, seeing some of his content early on in my career, I saw him marry the two up. And yeah, I went to a lot of his early courses. At the time, he was working with a lot of IFBB pro bodybuilders and fixing their lower backs. And it was just such a strange concept because I was at university learning to rehab people with none of these principles, no deadlifting, no squatting. But over time, meeting him, and he just had so much time for me early on, and it was just amazing. I was just a student and introduced myself, and he just always checked in with me, and just such a nice person. Over the years went by, and my partner Danny, in Melbourne, they had a business together where, they brought these principles to the masses with seminars and workshops, and he worked with Australian Strength Coach when I was working there, and he was just a really good person, first and foremost, just a really nice guy. We went out to many dinners and we had a really good friendship, and just someone that I learned a lot of my principles that I teach today. The sequences that I have given you have been all based off of the work and sequences that I've given to a lot of pro bodybuilders. So it was just quite sad. He died of brain cancer. Within 7 months, it wiped him out. And yeah, we were at his funeral last week in Melbourne. It was a very there's some big names there, and just the impact he's had on the industry. And even like The Rock commented on his post, so you can see that he's reached that status. So look, it's very sad, but I've taken it on as an obligation, as a duty of mine and Danny's, for us to continue his legacy and his work. So the work's all there. Luckily, he has published a lot of it and is accessible. So my job now is to really reinforce his lessons and everything that he's taught us, and just keep his name going on. His wife's actually coming up to Sydney in 2 weeks to spend some time with us and come to the gym. And look, it's extremely sad, but I mean, he went with a major legacy now, and something that I'll always remember. Yeah.
He's changed the game.
Changed the game, yeah.
I didn't know Andrew that well. I met him a few times, and I had him on social media. But the one thing that stood out to me was his true love and passion for strongman sports.
Yeah.
So for bodybuilding, for powerlifting, for strongman, you could just tell that he loved it and that he was an artisan of the fine arts. Like, I would see him talk about the training principles of Vince Gironda.
Yeah. Well,
Vince Gironda, who's like one of the
originals,
like from like when shit was in black and white still.
Yeah.
Seeing him talk about that. So yeah, I know that he was a true lover of all strongman and strength and everything to do with building muscle and being strong.
At his at his funeral, when people were speaking, some of the names that, some Bertle Fox.
Wow.
He took him out for a steak when he was here. Who was the guy that was in WBF? Gary Stridham.
Yeah.
Just some of the biggest, Sonny Schmidt. There were just big names when people would come out here to compete, or, him and Tony Doherty would bring him out, and Andrew just, he just loved bodybuilding, and he had such a good relationship with some of the biggest names. Even Evan Centopani was working with him at one point. So.
And it's just important for us in this industry as a whole to show respect to these people that have come before us and have changed the way that things are done now. It's just important to always give them the respect that they deserve, even if you don't know them, even if you think that they're not cool or fashionable at the moment, or whatever it might be. It's always important to give respect to the guys that came before us and change things for the better.
And you know what? He did definitely change things for the better, because the amount of people in our industry that he's helped continue training, and he's found methods and principles to allow us to continue to do what we love without having to go and get surgeries or stop training or modify things. Like, he has created, these formulas to keep us doing what we love, which is basically, we've built the whole gym on that principle. It's been built off of movement-based exercise, and I've got a lot to thank for that. And it was a good mentor, and rest in peace. And
I think for a guy like that, it's more important to say rest in power, probably more appropriate.
Or what, you should have seen the way they took him out. He went out in a Cadillac hearse it was like Metallica and everything. There was a big Iron Maiden poster behind everyone that was speaking. It was so funny, because Danny did a set of speech and she got some photos back, and she's just standing there, and there's a giant Iron Maiden poster behind her. I go, this is hilarious.
It's cool.
It's pretty cool.
It's cool. It's cool, man.
And they had a big table with all the Vince Gironda books and all the things that made him kind of who he was. So there was, it still hasn't really hit me yet, to be honest. So I'm sure it will once, but in my head, he's still kind of here. He's still doing his thing. But
still pretty fresh.
Yeah, it's still pretty fresh. But it's within 7 months. So pretty crazy.
Rest in power.
Rest in power. Should we answer on his behalf? Should we answer some questions?
Let's do some questions.
I got some pretty bad ones.
Oh.
I got some pretty bad ones.
We just go from having a touching moment to
I know. You know what? Andrew would have loved this, because he absolutely, he had a good sense of humor. All right. Okay. Would you rather have a daughter who has OnlyFans but makes no money, or a rich son that does OnlyFans but he's gay and you have to film the content?
Oh, that is so brutal. Okay, I was talking to Angelica about this the other day. What if I had a son that was gay? And like, my realization I came to was like, my son, I love him. if I could tell from a young age, I would try and discourage that kind of behavior and encourage Ryker to see if I could make a change. But if it got to the point where he was like 18, start bringing home dudes, I would just be like, I love you, son. And like try and be supportive. Hi, Greg, and meet his partner and then send him out when they leave. Fuck, just start smashing shit as soon as they leave. But just I would hate it, but I would accept it. Do you know what I mean? I would fucking hate it. But anyway, sorry.
I have to get it off my chest. Yeah. So the daughter, basically, she's got naked content everywhere, but she's making no money from it.
So is she getting views?
Well, probably not.
Do you know Lawrence Fishburne?
Yes.
The actor for Morpheus?
Yeah.
His daughter became a porn star.
He disowned her for it, yeah. And now she regrets it, apparently.
I'm going full Lawrence Fishburne.
So you don't want what? You don't want the daughter, or you want
fuck her.
So you got to film the gay son.
Oh, you got to film it.
Yeah, You're in the room, but he's rich. He's making tons of money.
There's just some lines you don't cross. There's just some like at least if a daughter happens, I can let her do that and then disown her.
Yeah,
and then I not feel as bad about it. Whereas if I have to film, it's going to fuck me up mentally. We're all going to need counselling. It's not going to go.
I feel like the money's not worth the scarring.
I'm going to choose the daughter and then disown her.
Perfect. All right, I agree. All right. Batista or Triple H? Who would you pick?
Bro, Batista is such a cuck in this day and age. Like the way he's transformed and he's a vegan now, he's just such a pussy. And he's done some cool acting roles and his physique was mad. But in terms of who's just like an alpha and who's a G, Triple H.
I love Triple H.
Triple H is awesome.
Triple H to me is the epitome of like wrestling. He's everything that's wrestling.
And you know what? He's so committed to the business. He hasn't left it to go do movies.
Nah.
He hasn't strayed from the path. He's been a heel, 16-time world champion. Is that how many times?
That's
Ric Flair. Yeah, what?
16 times.
However many fucking times Triple H is. He's just stayed true to his craft. And I love anyone that just stays true to their craft. Anyone that doesn't betray what they believe in and just sticks to their guns. Like The Rock went off and did movies, now just advertises anything that he can put his name to. Whereas Triple H, he's just taken over the business, and wrestling's not what it used to be, obviously. Maybe it is for people that still follow it. Do you follow it anymore?
Oh, I know my cousins do. They fucking love wrestling.
I don't follow it anymore.
I don't follow it like I used to.
No. So I don't know if it's in a good, healthy position or not.
I think it's still pumping. It's always good, but it's not.
But if I think of Triple H, I just think of that grainy 90s TV attitude era. The TV quality is a bit shit.
Comes out with Motorhead.
It's not that clear, yeah. But the TV's not that clear, and they do the matchup. It shows both of them. He's just flexing his pecs and rolling his shoulders.
Dave Palumbo used to prep Triple H.
Just spitting the water out. Yeah, he uses Fiberlize.
I love Triple H. Who is the most impressive IFBB pro you've seen in person?
Cedric McMillan.
Okay, where did you see him?
When I went to Spain for the Arnold Classic, I met him and had a conversation with him and chatted with him, and I just remember being like, fuck, this cunt's big.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I'd probably have to say mine would be Dennis Wolf.
Oh, yeah. I met Dennis, but not when he was peak.
At the 2013 Mr. Olympia, I went to Meet the Olympians, and he was big, man.
Yeah.
He was big, but just I remember because he just had a real like.
But also too, because those guys that are 6 foot and above, they might not look as impressive in their update photos, but then when you see them in person and your peripheral vision is consumed by their width, you just go, this is a big motherfucker.
Well, because I saw Dexter Jackson, I saw Victor Martinez, Sean Roden, and they were all there. And they all obviously looked tight because they had their Olympian jumpers on, and they're not big people, like height-wise. But Dennis was.
Well, apparently when people that have seen Andrew Jackson in real life, like because he might look a bit like he still has some space to fill out on his frame when he's on stage. Apparently, when you see him in real life, it is just the biggest person on earth. It is just,
everyone says he's crazy.
It's just insane.
Yeah, because he's 6'2", isn't he?
Something like that.
Yeah, wow. What is the best sup to stack with test?
Masteron.
I knew you were going to say that.
What do you say?
Depends what the goal is. I mean, it depends what the goal is. I mean, Masteron's the most sustainable.
I would say Masteron or growth hormone.
Masteron's the most sustainable, but if you just want If you want to disregard all emotion, all feeling, all life, it just has to be trend.
Why would you want to do that?
Because it just makes you look
Why would
so
you want
good.
to do that?
Because it just makes you look so good.
The trend culture of TikTok.
You just look good on it. Like whether you like it or not, it just does so much.
You just look like Sam Sulek's back. You just look like pure acne.
But it's just
You look like everything's going to pop. Too much sebum is being produced.
This is a terrible question. I don't even want to say this to you, but I'm going to say it anyway. 1 inch inside Eugene Teo.
What? Leave Eugene alone. Everyone just leave him alone.
And Dr. Mike is 1 inch inside you. Are you going back or forward?
So who's inside you? Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike.
Sorry, Eugene. Sorry, bro.
I'm going forward.
Sorry, bro.
I'm going.
Everyone fucking leave Eugene alone, you slack cunt. He's a good guy.
I'm going forward. Dr. Mike, no way.
No. Dr. Mike, he pretends to be gay, like to make out as if it's a joke, to cover up that he actually is gay.
You reckon he is?
Yeah, 100% reckon he is.
He is?
Yep. No, he pretends that he's gay and wants to do all this gay shit to be like, oh, it's a joke, guys, but really I'm lying to you in front of your face.
Yeah, I get that vibe from him. I've got quite a few more questions here. We'll probably save them for next time. We'll do one more. This is one because it's relevant to now. Someone would have asked how to retain gains during Ramadan.
I don't know.
It's impossible.
Change your religion? I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, I wouldn't have
I
any
don't know.
idea. I know there's a lot of footy players that actually are literally playing footy now during Ramadan and they don't eat.
Bro, the craziest cunts are Muslims that still have MMA fights during Ramadan.
That's nuts, man.
Insane.
That's
insane. But they surely have to break it a little bit because like whether it might just be they drink some water or they only break it for a shorter period of time.
But if you think about it, that's life or death in that when you're in the ring. That's life or death. You want to
not death, but it's
well, you're putting yourself in a position to be seriously injured.
Yeah, dire consequences,
like
dire physical
massive.
consequences.
Like it's bad.
But you know what? I saw a thing the other day. It was like a fucking post on Instagram, and it's like Ramadan's not just about fasting from food. It's about fasting from people. It's about fasting from bad habits. It's about fasting from all this different shit. And I was like, yeah, that's a fair point. I like that.
I'd rather just fast from all that than fast from the food.
Yeah. You know what?
Fast from people.
It's how to maintain gains during Ramadan. How long does it go for? A month or 3?
I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's a month, somewhere close to that.
Just use that as your break from training and just come back fresh. Yeah. Just use it as your break from training.
Or you'd have to change your training schedule.
You'd have to train super early and you'd have
super
to,
late, depending what suits you.
Like I would say, yeah, or depending what suits you. So training when the sun's not up and having a carb powder before that.
Yeah.
And during that, and then eating a shitload of food after.
Yeah, it would be hard. You definitely wouldn't progress.
You know what? You might just look at that as taking a sidestep.
Yeah.
You try and not move forwards, but at least take a sidestep opposed to a step backwards.
Yeah, good call. Is that us for an hour? We're not going overtime?
Have we done an hour, bro?
Yeah, we're probably running close to time. I was actually going to...
Yeah, I was going to
Wrap
say,
it up.
we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Sick. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Buy a tub of pump juice, buy a tub of Diet Carnage, go into the local supplement store and ask them for it. If they don't have it, hound them to get it. That's it. Have you got anything else to say?
God bless pump juice.
Sign up to My Training Space.
Yes, sign up to My Training Space. We actually just released 6 new programs on that. So
What'd you release?
we've got the new lower back pain progression program, so the phase 2, and one of the ones power building phase 2, which is a great program, and the main one, female pure bodybuilding. So that's one that's been requested.
And for insane pumps, vascularity, focus, intensity, maximum nutrients into the muscle cell, cellular swelling, 2 scoops of pump juice, 750 mils of water, half an hour before training. It's a great way to stay in shape.
God bless.